Let's see.
Oh.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
If you're here, let us know, because we can't see your faces and we can't even see if anybody's joining, but we do see your comments. So if you're here, leave a comment for us so that we know you're here, that we're not just talking to ourselves. That would be nice. Although we don't quite mind talking to ourselves, I guess, as well.
You have a lot to say.
And that's exactly why we started this. This is sorry, I'm just looking to see if we had any questions on LinkedIn, because I did put a post up earlier today to say that we are shifting today's live from lunchtime to 3 o'clock CET now. Well, so it's a little bit late because it's Sunday.
Yeah, it's more of a brunch type of feeling, not so much lunch, but more kind of a brunch afternoon kind of mimosa kind of feeling. I think it's a good way to start.
Exactly. So here we are. Welcome everybody. If you're there, we are across YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and a couple of channels on Facebook, a couple of channels on Instagram. So if you're there, hello, it's me, Shashing, and we've got Richard here with us. It's our day 7. I was gonna say 6, but actually it doesn't add up because it's 7 days in a week and we started on Monday. Day 7 of a live stream talking about how to build a better brand, or specifically how to build a better, more sustainable fashion brand. And we've got Richard here. Would you like to introduce yourself quickly for those people who are new to this live stream?
Yeah, hi, I'm Richard Liu. I've been working in the fashion industry for over 20 years, working in multiple positions from buying, merchandising, product development. Most recently, I'm working now as consulting and really supporting startups and sustainable brands on their journey, and helping them kind of get rid of some of those roadblocks that they find out, especially in the early starting off points, helping to uncover and lift the veil really on the industry to make it a little bit easier. I think teaming up with Shashing here has been fantastic, because really joining the creative side of it and the business side of it and bringing it together to help bring clarity and to bring a little bit of ease of work really when you go into these kind of situations, because it can be a bit of a mountain to climb from the outside, but actually with the inside information that we can help you with, it can make it a lot more digestible and a lot more easy to process.
Yeah. So thank you for being here, Richard. Richard, I keep saying this as well, and I think I've repeated myself several times during this week. It's like, I wish you were around when I was launching my brand 20 years ago. And I wouldn't have to spend the next 10 years learning just to find out what I did not know. I could have learned all this in the beginning, and then it would have been much smoother journey. But hey, we learn, don't we? But
exactly. All that journey helped bring us here so that we can share it. And this way, with all the years of experience from your side and from mine, actually, it's a really genuine, open conversation and really genuinely honest help and tools that we're putting together here. So I'm quite excited about what we're doing.
Yeah, no, I have spoken to so many people this week about a lot of smaller, independent, sustainable brands. Spoken to them about what we're doing together and how we can support them in their growth. And I'm super excited to get this launched. But let's talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Let's do a quick recap of what we've covered so far. If you guys have not been with us this week, we have been doing a lunchtime session every day for about 20-25 minutes. And I've actually uploaded everything to the link to YouTube. So if you want to watch the replays, you can just comment link and I can send the link to you so you can watch everything that we've discussed. So let's talk about what we actually discussed this week. I mean, we discussed a lot, and it feels like we've been going on for months. But where did we start, Richard, this week with on Monday?
So on Monday, I think we really kind of had the opening conversations, which are, what are the roadblocks to stopping your brand moving forward to the success you want? What are the roadblocks where you're investing a lot into your brand emotionally and financially, but you're not quite getting those results out of it? And what could be the roadblocks on that? And we really kind of touched on a couple of subjects, which are the main ones, which are most likely going to be your brand positioning, probably not fully understanding what the market is, probably not understanding what the pricing structure is for your competitors. And a lot of it probably comes down from overproducing or overdeveloping products that are not really needed for your particular endeavor. So that's how we kind of really started the week off, which is a great way, because it kind of then snowballed into day 2 and 3, which we kind of developed and went a bit deeper into all these kind of subjects as well. So
Yeah,
I think on
about brand clarity quite a lot and brand positioning.
exactly,
Kind of the red thread that goes through it all. If we don't get the positioning right and we don't have a clarity on what we want to do in our brand, both operationally and our vision for our brand, then we'll get lost.
Exactly. And I think it's really an important, not an important lesson, but it's definitely important advice that, especially when you're starting off, or even if you're in the middle of having your brand, just making sure you have that clarity, even with your team, so that people really understand fully what is the branding standing for, or what is it that what we will do and won't do. Because the amount of times that I see people who just having so many samples of things that they has nothing to do with what their brand description is or what their brand idea is at the very beginning, and I'm like, why are you developing this? And
because we love being creative.
I love that. and absolutely that's that. But I think especially in the beginning, where I think like maybe the mission is to kind of arrive at certain places, or to make sure that you have a rounded drop that you can maybe introduce to wholesale potential buyers and stuff like that. I think in the beginning it's really, if you want to run a tight ship and really money is not like overflowing, and you don't have an incredible trust fund that's kind of giving you these incredible studio spaces in Notting Hill that you don't really need to be in, I can really help you kind of find that focus and really kind of build it in really a structured way, so that you can really have a cut off and measure to say, well, you know what, I'm going to invest this amount of time in this particular product. I need X amount of options for it. This one is going to be our core driver, which is going to be the kind of foundation of our brand. We need to have a lot more depth inside of that, and just kind of gives you like little checks and balances that you can kind of keep on the road, and don't overspend or don't overinvest in time, in money and time. Or maybe you don't need a graphic designer full time. Maybe you need somebody that can come in and do 2 or 3 prints for the season. So it's just like having that kind of logic attached to your brand, and treat it like a business.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think a lot of us, I mean, this is certainly how I started as well. I started with the vision that I could create something that was unique. We all do. Every brand owner is like, I'm going to create something unique. I'm going to do something amazing, and I'm going to change the world. And that's the angle I came in from. And I think the business side was something that did take a long time to learn, because you don't know until you know, it's sort of situation, until you actually speak to wholesalers, until you actually start production. You are already a couple of years in, right? Because in the beginning you're just designing, and then you launch your collections, and then you have to then show your collections. I mean, this is typically what happens, but there are different ways of doing that now. And then you have to then produce it over several months, and then you have to deliver. And each step of the way, there was so much to learn about how to manage it all. And it's almost impossible, because it was only me working in the brand at the time. I had a partner at the beginning, and then she left, and then I was left on my own to manage all of this. And this is very typical for brand owners. They have this idea, so I'm going to do this, and then they are doing it by themselves. And this is why I wished you were there, because you could have told me, do it X, Y, Z, and this is the spreadsheet. These are the tools you can use to analyze what kind of collections and plan it all out. I had no idea.
Is that, do you know another thing? Exactly. I think that's what's great about like the course that we're building together, the tools that are attached with the course as well, like really practical tools that in ways can help you find out what are the recommended retail prices that we should be looking at. How do we figure that out? What's happening in the market? Because like you were saying, it's like, you want to do something unique, and you want to do something that's never been done before, and that's absolutely valid. But I think if you're making any product that's going to be consumed by people, I promise you there's something that can be compared against it. Even if you're going and making, say, the £10,000 jacket, we can find a Bruno Cucinelli jacket which can be very similar, and we can see what is expected out of that. What do people expect from something at that high price? So my thing is I definitely have a big heart for creativity, and that it's all there, but definitely make sure that you're just aware that we're going to have to put this into the market, and then there is going to be competition from the market, and just be aware of what's happening there, not from a stylistic point of view, but definitely from like a price point of view. What kind of qualities are expected from me? Am I using a blend, or am I just using 100% cashmere? You know, just to figure out what's happening. Is it going to be a 2-ply? Is it a 350 or 500 GSM sweatshirt that I have to do in order to make sure that I can hit those particular price points? And it's just kind of to help you that when you go to market, that you're going to hit and kind of draw the bow back and shoot that arrow forward. It's going to hit the target audience that you want to be, the target buyer that you want to do, and people kind of can understand the price value in there, and also if it being sustainable, that's like an additional bonus on top of everything on top of that as well. But just that you can shoot your arrow into the market and it can land with the people that you want to see it, with the buyers that we want to consume it, and it's a clear message, and it's not this is very fancy but the price point is too low, because I've heard that story so many times of people doing some amazing stuff. I'll give you the example of a friend of mine. She's making dresses just came from fashion college, and she goes, I'm selling this dress as my best seller. She goes, I've sold 14 of them. I said, that's amazing. She goes, I sell them for $299. They take me 8 hours each to make. I was like, wow, this is this is not sustainable.
This is very common. This is so common within sustainable fashion, where we don't, in a way where we are trying to push down the prices to be able to compete, but then maybe we have to think about how we design and how we create. And I mean, I think it's one thing to create something that's so beautiful and you're happy to part with it, but then how does the business grow? And then we did touch on this as well, like growing versus degrowth as well.
Yes, indeed. And I think in that situation, when we talk about like an idea that an artisan spent incredible time, like 7-8 hours in each individual dress, but then putting it into the market at $299, that's probably, and not probably, that in my opinion, that's absolutely not the correct price. It should be like a considerable amount higher than that, and maybe have to like work a bit harder on finding that client, but you have to make sure that it's known that it's like something that's done by one artisan from the beginning to the end. We're using top quality, all that kind of stuff, the inside French seaming, all the fantastic stuff that she was doing. But I think I know that she was going into it with this idea that, oh, well, I want to try and hit like this $299 kind of price bracket where that you see all these dresses from not so sustainable brands, but that's a mistake. Yeah, and that was a mistake of her brand. Then she found herself locked in with some of the wholesales and clients that she found, and she couldn't then change her prices afterwards because she was already locked in, and she found herself making stuff and literally not making any money, and having to hire people in order to facilitate the production of these things. So it becomes unsustainable very, very, very quickly. Definitely the kudos will be there that you can find yourself in incredible locations, but the pressure of having to then hire staff to fulfill these orders, it's not just you doing it anymore. The costs will start building up, and then you quite quickly see that, and then you can't then say, well, that should be double the price or that price and a half the next season, because it's going to be, well, we brought you in here because you were something special at that price point and the quality is there, and then the unique selling point that you think you're getting at there it's a mistake.
And I see this quite often actually, where they price the items too low, and then especially now when we're building this wholesale growth system, and I talk to a lot of brands about their pricing, because that's the first thing we need to figure out, is it even sustainable as a wholesale business?
Exactly.
And majority of the time it's not.
Exactly.
And then I send them to this course that we're going to be mentioning to everybody. This is like, I talked to them about wholesale to build a system for them, and I'm like, oh, we can't do it. You need to get on this course that Richard is running next week, and then we can come back to building the system.
I think that's really smart. I mean, like the amount of businesses that are out there that are giving their wholesale partners the landed cost, which is not the correct price point they should be giving them. They should be trying, like I said, inside the industry, people are expecting like a 2.4 or 2.5 markup on product, but obviously there's a lot more margin than if you're manufacturing it yourself. So the mistake that a lot of especially new brands that don't have like courses like this to kind of see it, they just give them that landed price plus maybe a small thing for themselves, and they find themselves pretty much just being like a worker bee for a big department store that just comes and places their orders, and they don't make any money at all from that. But that department store might help them reach the minimums that they need. It's that kind of misbalance on strategy and judgment about how to place your brand. It's definitely things you can update and change, but it's harder once you've like put the nail down and said, this is what we are, this is what we do. But then you're doing all the steps that are kind of not serving you as a brand and not serving the environment. We were speaking just this week about brands that we've seen in really big department store that is a sustainable brand, but the prices that they're coming out with, I'm like going, wow, how are they able to get a denim jacket for £119 retail in a store, which is a big ask? How are they able to get like dresses out they're saying in recycled polyester, and they're coming out for 105?
Some of them was even less than 100. It was like
exactly. And I think this is where for me, I'm like, and something's either gone awry whereby they haven't figured out the correct pricing to offer, or even worse, maybe they're not sustainable, but they're completely B Corp certified. That's what we've seen from that. So it's not that, but there's just something inside the maths from experience that it's not adding up. If you know the way, and I can look and take literally a glance. You know, I'm coming from a financial background, and auditing was one of my favorite things. I can take a look at a pricing structure, and I can know where there are going to be margins that not being made, negative points, and all of that just from looking at the pricing structure. So when I saw this plan, I'm still convinced to stay. We might do a little in-depth kind of investigative kind of
No, I
kind
think
of sleuth detail to figure this out.
I mean, unless they are selling a huge amount, like a big volume, that maybe they can bring the prices down. But I think, from what I understand from this brand, we can't mention the brand, obviously. It doesn't look like they're selling that much to warrant those low prices. So where does the profit? I mean, it's a business, and it's about profit at the end of the day, to sustain our businesses, and we have to pay for the people working for us, right? So
you have to pay people a fair wage and stuff. You
exactly.
have to pay the fair prices on the journey.
Fair wages, good materials. There's a lot of expenses involved in a fashion brand. So that's a little bit of recap of what we discussed. I mean, we could discuss fashion, the business of fashion, for hours and hours. So we only limited ourselves to about 20 minutes every day, just to make sure that you guys don't get bored of listening to us and get too much information as well. So we built a course together, Richard and I, well, mainly Richard, and it's called Build a Better Brand. And I'm going to share a link here with you guys if you are interested to find more how you build a better brand. To do, hold on a sec, let me come, build a better brand .vip. So if you want to find out more about that and how to build a better brand that's more sustainable for your business, as well as sustainability as well, because it needs to be sustainable for both. It's not one or the other. And we need to find a balance. How do we retain the sustainability for the planet and people that's working within your business, and also the sustainability for your business at large? So do you want to explain a little bit more about what you go through? It's a 30-day program. It's a live coaching program. We drop one episode, I was going to say, one module beginning of the week on Monday, and then we have a live call on Friday to answer all of the questions that you may have during the week, and also answer any questions that you have about building your brand in general as well. So over to you, Richard. You can explain more what it does.
Yeah, so it's really like a boot camp for you when you're starting out, and we'll do one step leads into the next, really quite nice and clearly. So we'll really start off at the very beginning to really kind of solidify and make it very clear about what your brand is, from like what you stand for. We'll do a great brand positioning exercise to see where you fit into the market. And that will be automatically followed by the pricing exercise, so you can get your pricing strategy all sorted out. Once you've got like the idea about your brand adjacencies and about where you're sitting in the market, then we'll start getting into a little bit on the product and the planning. Working with your brand pyramid to see what can the split be between the things which you will carry over season after season, your seasonal ideas, and then obviously the very top of the pyramid, which can be your very strong expression, and how you can work that out into your range plan. And these are documents that you can keep on top of, which means that at a glance, you should be able to know everything that you're producing for the season, who you're going to get it produced by, what the landed costs can be, etc., what the minimum order quantities are. All of these documents, you'll find them inside the course, that we give you all those templates for you to use. On top of that, then we'll give you the insight into looking on your distribution channels, listing out all the different types of distribution channels, but also what the difference in the money you can make from, say, doing everything on your own, from your own websites and your own stores, and what that difference when you're doing that, say, with wholesale, and you have somebody else supporting you on that journey, what the difference in the profit that you can make per item that you're selling. And I think this is really one of the key parts of the course that I think we're really, really proud of, that tool that we had there. Very easy to just plug in a few details from your range plan, and it will give you all of that at a glance. And it will also tell you automatically, without having to do anything, what is your break-even point, how many items do you need to sell of X, Y, and Z immediately. And I think this from actually doing the course there before last year, when we were doing the trials, I think when the feedback we're getting, the revelation that people say, wow, the selling something myself, minimum order quantity might be say 50 units or 100 units. But when I see with my markups, my pricing strategy, actually I only need to sell 8 or 12 of that myself, of my own channels, to cover all of my costs. And then the rest can be profit after that. In comparison, that if I use, say, with wholesale and have somebody to help me with that, I might have to sell 40 or 50, I might have to sell 40 out of the 50 before I can start breaking even, because the money you make is much lower, because obviously somebody else is taking a bit more of the risk to sell your products on. So I think really the course is really to help build that clarity and give you a bit of peace of mind and help you along that journey to make you realize that building brands is incredible. It is difficult, but it's not that difficult. And there are things that you can put in place that can make you be sustainable, go into it with a cool head and succeed in it. After that, then we kind of go on to the next phase of it, which is building out your marketing calendar, which will give you an opportunity then to put in your brand activation, things that you would like to do over the season, where you're going to highlight special drops or special colors or special incentives or even weddings or whatever is relevant for you, and to put that down with the cost and to help you build your cash flow statement, all tied in with your production. And again, at a glance, you can see everything there. And then I think in the final part of our course, which it sounds like a lot of work, but I think at the end, the last part, the last week of the course, is really a kind of consolidation part where we have some great templates and some great suggestions to help you build out your business plan. So if you need to go and find investors, this is a very nice professional standardized kind of document that is used, that you can approach your bank or potential investors that can support you on that. And then also then we'll give you some ideas on how you can create your own brand book, which is where you can put your brand ethos inside there, really what you stand for as a brand, what is your identity, what are your values, and some ideas visually about what the brand is. So at the end of it, you come out with a lot of great templates, a lot of fantastic ways of working, which will really hold you down and keep you accountable for each season. And also then you end up with 2 very clear documents that anybody involved in your brand can just take a glance at them, and they know exactly what you're about, exactly what your margins are, exactly what your earning potential is. And this is what kind of can make you get through the process a lot quicker when you're talking to external people as well.
Yeah, and I think this is what I've told people who I'm working on the wholesale side, to building out their systems as well. And I think this document is going to really help them approach retailers as well, because they understand at a glance what it is that you're trying to achieve and the brand positioning, where you stand, and also they know exactly where to position your brand within department store, if it's a department store. So they can very quickly just pick out the pieces that they like within, what is right for that company. And they don't have time, right? So you need to give them as much information as possible. So this is why I'm asking all of them, like, actually just do this before we even start working, because that makes my life as a marketeer as well much easier, because then I know very clearly how to position that brand and what kind of messaging is coming out of them. So I think this is, like I said, I wish I had this 20 years ago. I might be a multi-billion brand by now.
Let's see how many of them we can make this year. Let's have a look and see what we can do by the end of this year, and see the success stories that we have pulling out of it. So I'm very excited for this, and I'm again the combined over almost like 20 odd 30 odd years now between the two of us, combined in a way to bring something that can support sustainable businesses and small businesses. I'm really proud of what we're doing here, Shishing, and thank you for the opportunity of pulling this together. I've really enjoyed the process with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm just excited to see more independent and sustainable brands out there, because the market share is just so teeny tiny. And a lot of the time I speak to the brands, this is what they need. They need to know what the global players, what they're utilizing, tools and strategies they're using to grow their brands. And we don't have access to that, because quite often as a lot of brand owners, I mean, some are very business savvy, of course, but then some of them actually comes from the creative side, and this is not what is taught in fashion school. So if we don't know this, how are we going to build a brand that's sustainable and it's going to allow us to grow to the next level and be able to take over more of the market share? Because we have to. It can't be this unsustainable forever, but somebody needs to come out and actually do the right thing with the right backing and strategies and tools to support that as well.
100%.
So I'm super excited. So buildabetterbrand.vip. We are starting next week, but if you want to sign up today or tomorrow, that's fine. You can catch up. But our first live session will be on Friday, where we answer the questions, and we will give you some sort of live coaching in where you are. And it's going to be such a very small group of us, because this is the first real cohort that we are running. So we can give you lots and lots of one-to-one support.
Exactly.
It's going to be very unique for this time if you join, because as we grow, we won't be able to answer all of the questions anymore. But I know for a fact that this first cohort is going to be very small, so that if you want to join and get lots and lots of one-to-one time with Richard and I, join now, be part of this, and let's make a difference together.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sushin. That's a fantastic start. I'm excited for next week. Enjoy your Sundays and get some rest, and let's think about building better brands. Have a lie down and think about what we've spoken about. Check out our YouTube channel where you can find everything that we've done this week as well. Have another flick through that. There's some really good stuff inside there, and there's a lot more stuff inside with the program as well that you will really enjoy.
Fantastic. Happy Sunday, everybody, and thank you for being here and watching us and listening to us. And I'll see you next week, Richard. I'll see you on Monday.
Well, all right, Shushi. Enjoy your Sunday, Dede. Bye.
Bye.
Fantastic.
Okay, let's see.